Welcome. Sorry for the delay. I had some technical difficulties. Normally, I don't use my laptop. Usually, I'm on the Mac. So we are here, ready to get started. Hopefully, we have some folks that join in live. Um, but if not, it's perfectly fine. We will go ahead and get started regardless. So um, let's see. We'll wait for a little bit to see if anybody joins us. Um, if not, it's fine. I will still talk about the topics that I wanted to address today. Um, we'll see. Hopefully, we at least get one person um, to join in. If we don't, we don't. Um, but I do have some topics that I want to cover in particular. One being the current suicide rates that we're seeing across the nation and across the Air Force in general. Hopefully y'all can hear me because I can't tell. This is why I like having the Mac, but I'm pretty sure y'all can. But so the suicide rates across the nation as well as the Air Force have they have drastically increased over the last year. The Air Force alone, we're seeing either 25 or 30 more than we saw this time last year. And this is why I was hoping people were going to be on, because I wanted to get people's perspectives and thoughts on why they believe that we're seeing an increase. But I think there's numerous different reasons. I don't think there's one particular reason why. But I think the main reason is that people feel like others don't care, right? So feel like that they are alone going through whatever battle that they're going through, right? And when they do reach out to people or say things via social media or say things here and there to friends or family, they either felt like they are becoming a burden. They feel blown off because people are telling them, oh, don't be weak, man up. Like, these are key things that you hear all the time, right? From people who tell you that they try to talk to their family or address these issues with coworkers or loved ones. That's usually the same thing you hear is people don't take me seriously, people blow me off, whatever. So I think that's one of the main reasons, is because people don't feel like people care. And people don't. You see so many people that are all about their careers and all about themselves, and not about helping others, not bringing others with them to success, right? I can tell you myself, I am not one of those people. It doesn't matter if we are both in the same AFSC, same grade, going for the same promotion. If you ask me for help, if you ask me to help look at your EPR, I'm going to help you. If you ask me to help you come up with bullets, I'm going to help you. There is no competition. If you are doing what needs to be done, your records will speak for themselves. You don't have to compete with anybody. But so many people only care about what's best for them and you know, what's going to help them get to the next level. Excuse my husband, he's playing Madden, so that's what that is. But I think that's the main reason why you're seeing such a drastic increase, is because, you know, when I was coming up, you at least had a few NCOs or other peers that you could go to that would drop what they're doing to help you no matter what. And it's very rare to find that nowadays. Of course, I have been able to find people like that across um, the Air Force and different duty stations, but it's not a lot. It's like one or two people at every duty station that I've been to. Um, Not saying you have to have like 10 or 15 people that are willing to drop anything, but it's hard because they have lives too. And when you're going through things, you necessarily don't want to intrude on other people's life or what they have going on, because everybody has their own issues, their own problems. And a lot of the times, even if you do feel like you have resources or people you could go to, you don't want to bother them with what you feel is not a big deal for them, even though it may be a giant deal for you. um, and then you have like our veterans that are committing suicide um, so much, and doing it at VA centers. Why? Because the folks that they're hiring at these locations don't care about taking care of the people. They brush them off. They're there for a paycheck. They're not there to um, take care of these folks and make sure that they're getting the help that they need. Now, that's not to say that all VA centers are that way, but there's a good majority of them that are, which is sad. Um, and then, we're so quick to tell people to go get help and to reach out to these resources um, for the help that they need. But at the same time, folks that are being hired for these positions necessarily don't have the qualifications to deal with the type of trauma and issues that people are bringing to them. How do I know? From my own experience, which I'll get to later. But that is a big reason that you're seeing such a increase in vet and military suicides and even civilian suicides, because they just don't feel like people care. There's not people there in their corner to help them. And so because of that, this is why you're seeing the numbers that you're seeing. Um, People want to know that they have people in their corners and people that will support them and that will be there for them. But the way it currently is that more people are worried about themselves and not taking care of others or helping others or looking out for others. And a lot of people have become so dependent on social media for the love they're not getting from actual people. Um, that's why people are so consumed with how many likes and comments and shares they're getting. Um, and when they don't get what they're after, you even see a lot of the social media stars start to freak out over it. I don't remember if I talked about this or not on here, but it was a young lady who her page got hacked or deleted, and she literally got on the internet bawling, crying, saying, I'm an influencer. This is what I do. And now I have nothing and I have to start all over and I have no. And like she was literally on the brink of having a nervous breakdown over this. People are becoming so dependent on the attention that they can or don't get on social media because they're not getting the attention they need in real life, or they feel like they're not. So I would say that number one, not enough people taking care of people. And number two, if they do go to receive help, a lot of times they're not getting the provider that they need. The providers do not know how to take care of the needs of the individual, or they brush them off, or they try to medicate them, not trying to fix the actual issues that the individuals are having. So this week, my unit had its tactical pause for resiliency. And I can say that I never thought I would see in my 16 years of active duty, a commander come forward and tell his story um, on resiliency, how he went through dark times, almost even took his life, but is still standing today because he sought out treatment and help. But that's what you need to see. You need to see more leaders that show you that they are people too, and show you that they can be vulnerable, and that they go through the same struggles that we go through, because they're people. The problem is that so many people hold them up on a pedestal like they're some demigod, and that nothing can happen to them. They can't be broken. They're a commander, whether that's at the squadron, the group, or the wing level, that they're still people. And I think people fail to realize that. And that's not only commanders, that's command chiefs, first sergeants. All of these people that are in leadership positions are still people. They're still human. And people forget this, and people forget to ask them if they are okay. Ask them, do they need help? Just to check on them. And I made it a point to, me and my husband had a discussion about this probably 2 or 3 months ago. And his unit is always busy, always has stuff going on. It's always hectic, crazy, and he works directly for his commander. And I made it a point to tell him that it's important that you check on him. Yes, he's the commander, and yes, I'm sure the chief asked him and the first sergeant asked him, but maybe they don't. So it's still your responsibility as someone who works directly for him to make sure he's okay, to make sure that he is taken care of, that he's eating. Because I know there are many days that I forget to eat because I'm so busy. One of my troops is very good at asking me, "Ma'am, you doing okay?" She even knows when I've got to go to the bathroom and I'm in mid-conversation, but I have to go to the bathroom, and she knows what my pee dance looks like, and she's like, "Ma'am, I'm sure whatever you're talking about is not that important. Go to the bathroom." Right? So it is important for us to take care of our leaders as well. And that's at any grade, right? They're people just like we are. So to have a commander come forward and tell his story, and to tell us about when he almost took his life and what stopped him, and he even had, a draft suicide letter written. Number one, I already held him to a higher standard because of the caliber of leader that he is. And that's mainly just because when I was going through an episode of my PTSD and I was triggered by a lightning strike that struck our building, he was there. He saw the panic in my face and was like, "Hey, let's go talk. Let me go change the subject and talk to you about something else to keep your mind focused, so it's not focused on that." So because of that incident, he will forever have a special place, I guess, in my heart for that incident, along with my troop that helped me through that incident. And that was probably the first one I've had like that since I've developed PTSD. So it was definitely different. It was uncomfortable. I didn't like it. But I'm glad I experienced it, so I know what to expect if it ever happens again. But definitely was a different situation, right? But having a commander come forward and tell you, the struggles that he's gone through, and how he's bounced back and became a better person because of it, definitely made me realize that me continuing to tell my story, me continuing to have these conversations and these discussions is important. It's needed. whether other people feel like it or not, whether other people are annoyed or tired of seeing me post about it or talk about it. It's a needed conversation. People need to have these conversations. People need to understand the importance of mental health and making sure that you are in the right mental spaces that you need to be in. Um, for those of you that do have Facebook accounts and you may or may not have seen the Facebook page that has started in the last few days called Air Force Outreach. I believe that's what it's called. Let me verify before I tell you a lie, but I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. This page, Air Force Wingman Outreach, is what it's called. Air Force Wingman Outreach. So, for those of you that have not seen this page, I suggest that you go become familiar with it. If you are someone struggling in the Air Force with any type of issues, if you are dealing with anxiety, depression, PTSD, financial problems, job problems, like just something that you would want to reach out to someone to discuss, that page is awesome. I would have to say that I've spent a lot of time on this page in the last few days because so many people are coming forward to tell their stories there, telling their stories of sexual assault, deployment related issues, family issues, thoughts of suicide, all the different things that people are going through. They're talking about it. And I can say this is the first time in my 16 years I've seen so many come forward and to talk about the things that are bothering them or that they're going through. Is it because we're seeing these high numbers in suicides? Probably. But really, whatever's driving it doesn't matter. The fact that it's happening does. And it needs to continue to happen. People feeling comfortable enough to come forward and talk about what's bothering them, what they're going through. I will say, though, that some of the stories that I've read have completely broken my heart based on things that people are going through and suffering through in silence. Things that people have gone through and have tried to get help or talk to someone about and were blown off. The things that people have suffered through at the hands of others in leadership positions, and nothing has happened. The people who have come forward and told when sexually assaulted, and they were made out to be the monster in the courtrooms, or they were made out to be something other than what they were, a victim. I think a lot of these stories have really gotten to me on this page. Yes, victim blaming is terrible. I the amount of it that happens, which I'll get into it when I tell my story, but